Pessimism removes your potential. But when you're optimistic, it calls out your giftedness. It calls out your ability to be creative, to solve problems, to see answers. Today I want to talk about optimism. Optimism. You know, some people can read the Bible and wake up even greater pessimists. The Bible is an optimistic book. And when you read David and all their others, and he's in the bad, he's in the good, he's in the bad, he's in the good. And when you read one chapter, oh, God, help me, there are the bulls of Bashan, they encompass me. And it goes, it's depressing. He's in the bad. He's done something bad. Then he gets in the good. I can run through a troop and leap over a wall. He's my sword and my shield. He gives me power for all. He's in the good. And so people will take those and think that's the way we function in the new covenant. In the new covenant, it's not your bad and your good that gets you messed with or blessed. It's Jesus who represents the human race, who has qualified you for the blessing. He took your judgment. God has no judgment left to nail you with. Now, you got your own consequences. I mean, when you slap somebody and he punches you, that wasn't God judging you. That was just a reaction to foolishness. I'm going to kind of give you some science, and then we're going to dive into the Word a little bit. Some people think science is the real deal. And so if that's the case, I don't. But I love science. I believe that true science and the Bible are easily married. Fantastic. But they've done a lot of studies of optimism, lots of them. And I've read so many of them. And they have found that where people are optimistic, and I'm going to read through some of their data, and then I want to talk about something, that people's performance is shaped by thought patterns, mindsets, and moods. Those are the words they use. How you frame something and how you feel about yourself. These 5 or 6 things determine your future, and it decides whether you're an optimist or a pessimist. Your mental practices either build confidence and creativity. It'll even take advantage of problems. When you won't be overcome by adversity. You'll develop buffer zones when stress and setbacks and disappointment come. Optimistic thought patterns give you staying power, resilience when your future is foggy and uncertain. But some people don't trust optimists. They're not realists. They don't look at the data. They sugarcoat everything. They look through rose-colored glasses. They're Pollyanna in their thinking. And so I'm a realist. Now let's get really real. You're a pessimist. Optimism has proven time and time again through psychology and any other of the studies that have gone on to be a major asset across a diverse amount of fields. Business, politics, academics, leadership, athletics, health. Optimism absolutely has won in every case. Positive emotions and optimistic thinking. Listen to some of the stuff that comes out of the data throughout U.S. history. The more optimistic presidential candidates are, then they're the ones who prevail in the elections. High-level executives use positive words 4 times more than negative words, conscientiously. Pessimistic salespeople sell less and have higher turnover than optimistic salespeople. Optimistic baseball pitchers and hitters do better than the pessimists in close games. Isn't that interesting? Pessimistic basketball teams lose to the point spread more often than optimistic ones do. Pessimistic swimmers have more substandard times and fail to bounce back as well from poor efforts. Optimists are more helpful, more flexible, more creative, more empathetic, and more respectful towards customers. Optimism contributes to good health, healing, and longevity. The scientific evidence is absolutely clear. It is solid. It's no more just, be an optimist, be a pessimist. Here's what I don't care what you think. Stats are out. I mean, decades of great stats showing us who achieves, who changes things, who does stuff. What is optimism? Optimism, according to the dictionary, is a hopefulness, a confidence about the future. It's believing there's going to be a successful outcome. What do you believe? What are you like? Are you an optimist? Are you a pessimist? The skill of being optimistic is crucial and needed. Let me give you some scientific, some of you are into science, argument for optimism. Study after study spells out these benefits. Optimists get paid more. They are healthier. They win more elections. They live longer. They're better at dealing with uncertainty. They're better at dealing with change. A lot of people know this at the gut level, but the science is showing it in studying people. It highlights the power of our thinking patterns. It shows this broad influence of optimism and the effect it has on you personally, your happiness, your overall health. Science proves that optimism is a huge asset for you as a person, period. Let's take a look at optimism versus pessimism and the payoff. Okay. An attitude of positive expectancy. These are their words. I'm just shrunk a whole lot of stuff into just a few lines to help you out. An attitude of positive expectancy energizes us and calls out our potential. Pessimism removes your potential. But when you're optimistic, it calls out your giftedness. It calls out your ability to be creative, to solve problems, to see answers. It heightens our awareness of opportunities, whereas pessimism, there are no opportunities. It's over. Optimism points a powerful beam of light into the darker corners of our lives, revealing possibilities that are hiding in the shadows. The positive-minded person interprets events from the angle of hope, finding benefits and creative solutions that the pessimist overlooks. Compare that to the price tag that they say that pessimism carries. A negative frame of mind saps your energy as well as the energy of people around you. It weakens your confidence. It hurts you creatively and in your problem-solving skills. You end up focusing on obstacles, and that interferes with your ability to spot opportunities. And pessimism drains the joy out of life, leaving you emotionally spent, less effective in dealing with others. You can build optimism like a psychological muscle. It can be learned. It can be practiced. Instead of just being completely consumed by negativity and thoughts, they've discovered that optimism and pessimism aren't the two ends of the same graph. Pessimism is one graph, optimism is the other. And that anytime you try to get a pessimistic to be optimistic, you're going to fail. Okay, I'll save you here. That's a depressing point. And as I'm teaching, many of you who know the word, verses are just going off in your head as you hear the studies of human beings, and God understands it at a level they would never understand it. But they found that pessimists can be taught to deal with negative thinking. And you can lower your pessimism. And as you focus on that this optimism begins to rise. Whereas if you just try to be optimistic and all you're doing is loading yourself up with more knowledge, making a bunch of confessions, but you're not dealing with your pessimism. So we need to, if you are just dealing with pessimism all the time, then you need to change this inner voice. You see, every one of us has an inner voice that speaks to us that we've developed. And it is a prophetic voice that seems to always come true. A pessimist and an optimist can both be in the same situation. The pessimist will look at it as, this is my fault. I'm not good enough to get through this. And it's pervasive through every area of my life. And it's always going to be this way. And the optimist just knows it's not his fault. And there's some outside things that are going to change. And everything's going to work out. And it's going to turn around. And the science says both people are right. This inner voice, it develops a way of explaining everything that leaves you locked in this horrible, frustrating, I've looked at all the data. Reminds me of a story I've told before, and it's just such a great story. 100 years ago, two big shoe companies in North America wanted to open up a company in this island. They both got on ships. It was before planes. And they landed after a week or so of being on this ship. They landed in this island, and they both sent a telegraph or a telegram or whatever they used back to their companies in North America. One says, "Get me out of here on the first boat back. Big mistake. Nobody here wears shoes." Other guy sends a telegram back to his company. "Send me a boatload of shoes. Nobody here wears them." You see, optimists interpret bad events in their own mind as temporary. They expect them to be short-lived. Optimists, they just shake it off. They move on down the road. They protect their own self-confidence by not blaming themselves, or there's nothing you can do, and you're a loser, and you're not good enough, you're not strong enough. Optimists, they make a habit of putting boundaries they discovered around their fears and failures. For example, they see something as a single problem, unique to a specific situation, not a generalized damaging effect that's going to take out my entire life. They approach adversity with a faith and an ability that they're going to handle it, that they're going to make a difference. And the pessimist just laughs, "Oh, you're going to make a difference." Instead of concluding that they're helpless, optimists, they proceed to influence the outcome. Now, I can give you a Bible verse for everything I'm saying, but I'm quoting scientists right now. The optimists give themselves an edge because their world doesn't seem so threatening. Richard Bach says, what the caterpillar calls a tragedy, the master calls a butterfly.